Hey community, it's Marty from Greater Rock Fitness. Today our show is going to be a little bit different. It's going to still be about community, but community in a really more important way. The community that came together in the aftermath of Irene. We're going to talk to some people that locally were directly affected. We're going to talk to Wanda, who works at Greater Rock Fitness, and you've seen her before. We're going to talk to Nancy Bazin. We're going to talk to Stacy Allen from Allen Brothers, and we're going to talk to Sue Hammond and ask her to tell us a little bit about the Bartonsville Covered Bridge, because she got her 15 minutes of fame by being the one that shot the Bartonsville Covered Bridge coming down. So stay with us, grab your popcorn, sit back, and I hope you enjoy the show. So here we are standing on Barbers Park Road. Is that correct, Wanda?
Yes, it is.
I'm here with Wanda. You're familiar with Wanda from other videos that we've done. And about, was a week and a half ago, this road did not exist, did it?
No, it was washed out because of all the rain from Irene. Flooded the river, Saxon's River, and washed away the road.
So that gully shot that we just showed you, that deep gully, that was indicative of how
this
washed out
whole
this was?
area was like a big pit. And it took the crews from Monday to Thursday to fix it enough that we could pass over it.
So you were in essence, you were stranded up on your hill.
We were stranded up on the hill because Hall Bridge got damaged during the storm, and this road was completely washed out and impassable. So
you had no means of getting off your hill. Well, you could get off your hill, but you had no means of getting into town, like driving yourself into town.
We were able to walk.
Sorry, community, we had to pause for a car. Oh, we got another car. A lot of traffic on this road today now that it's open.
On this road. Now, all of a sudden, must have heard that Marty on the move.
They must have heard that we were here filming, so they're all out to check it out.
What's this guy doing? He's good. Give me hand signals. So yeah, we were able to walk over Hall Bridge, and we were fortunate enough that a kind friend picked us up on the other side and took us into Bellows Falls, where we were able to shower and get some food and charge up our electronics, because of course we didn't have any power. And we did all that, and then another car.
It's okay.
Yeah, but we had provisions and stuff, so we had water and food and everything we needed to survive for a few days comfortably. All the damage was down here, unfortunately, and we could see from our house the river and how wide it got and how violent it got, and we could actually see things floating in it, and it was I couldn't understand what I was seeing because it was so it was frightening. Yeah. And then when we were able to see the emergency vehicles.
Hey. Hello! He wants to be on Marty on the Move.
What a sweetie. Yeah, we could see, when we saw the emergency vehicles heading down this way, we knew that something was happening. And then after the storm, we came down and actually witnessed the destruction, and it's still disturbing to see every day going by. Yeah. All this, it's really hard, and just to witness what people went through and how frightening that must have been for them.
Yeah. Can you? You came to Vermont. How long have you lived here?
We've lived here as residents for 2 years, and we bought the house primarily as a little vacation spot. But then we decided to become residents because we fell in love with the area and the people, and it was a really nice place to be.
And did you ever think 2 years ago that you would experience basically a natural disaster.
No, not to this magnitude.
In idyllic,
Yeah.
you know, idyllic Vermont, you probably thought, oh, that's such a nice little bubbling brook of a river.
It was just so pretty. Oh, we have the covered bridge to go over, and the really pristine Saxton's River, and then in the matter of however many inches of rain it was, close to 12 inches or something that we got, that all changed.
And it happened fairly quickly. Can you kind of talk us a little bit through that day? I mean, you were up on your hill. You were prepared. I know you were prepared for the hurricane. We had been talking beforehand that weekend. You had gotten water and batteries, and you were food
and put gas in the car.
You're the one that reminded me to do that. Thank you, Wanda. I was prepared. I had gas in my car. I said, Wanda says I have to make sure I have a full tank.
So that if you have to leave and the gas stations are closed, or what we did was recharge our phones in the car. That was our cell phones, which was helpful because we didn't have any landline service. But the day started out rainy, and then it just kept going and going and going, and torrential downpours. We lost power at about, I think it was around 11 o'clock in the morning. We lost power. And then we just continued to watch the storm, and we were initially, we prepared some emergency bags because we thought that the winds that were predicted were going to wipe out that, the trees could add the potential of falling on the house. That never happened.
So you weren't actually evacuated?
No, we weren't evacuated. We were safe up there. I don't think anyone was prepared for what the amount of rain did, and how all the rivers and streams and brooks and everything else totally overflowed, and with such force.
Yeah, I mean, you can see if you look off to the side. I mean, this wasn't riverbed before, and it's riverbed now, and this is just a small sampling of, and I think you actually see it a little bit better from this side of the river than you do if you're just driving down 121.
Yeah, you really can't see what the water just plowed through. There's no way to stop it. It just goes where it needs to go, and if you're in the way,
it was going to take you down.
It's going to take you.
And it did. It literally did take. We're heading over to see where there's a lot of debris left from things that it actually did take down. And again, you can't get quite this view from the other side of 121.
No.
This is a lot more. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you really can't see it. You can see little bits of it if you happen to look through, but you can't
get a true sense.
This sense of what these houses and what the people went through, and they survived. I don't know how. It's pretty amazing. I think a couple of dogs were lost, unfortunately.
And even today, the river's, up a little higher than normal. Normally, the Saxons River is not quite so noisy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing about the noise too, we are up several hundred feet up on the hill, and we could hear that day. We could hear the raging river.
Wow. Because you're pretty far up there.
We're pretty high up, 700-800 feet, and we could hear the river just churning and screaming almost as it was rushing through here.
So literally, this river pretty much doubled in size, probably more than quadrupled in force. I don't even know how exponentially in force.
And then to be from that end to come all this way, it's just
to see that. And you guys came down. Did you come down that day and check it out?
We drove down on Sunday and came to Hall Bridge and saw that it was closed off. And we went back up the hill, and then we came down the next day. Monday, it was nice and sunny.
It was gorgeous. I know it dawned a beautiful day.
And
the calm after the storm.
So we came down and walked. We parked our cars and walked down Barbers Park Road with some other neighbors that we sort of knew, but we were able to bond a lot more because of this circumstance, and we walked and talked, and they shared their experiences. So I did get to meet, over the course of a few days, new neighbors, and just develop more of a sense of community up here.
And I think that's
on the
kind of
hill.
because you've mentioned that to me a couple of times. We might as well just relax here. We're relaxed by the idyllic river. I don't think anybody will win us over. And I think you've mentioned that to me, and I think if anything could be considered a positive outcome, then I think that's maybe a positive outcome of community coming together.
Yeah.
Neighbors meeting neighbors, neighbors helping neighbors. And that's, I think, that's part of what like Vermont is all about, and that's part of what, you know, just happens in circumstances like this is, you know, sometimes it brings out the worst in people, but I think a lot of times it brings out the best.
The best, yeah. We saw the best people come out, and it just, because it's such a small community. It's such a small community, and everybody feels close ties. Even though we haven't been here that long, you know, it's heart-wrenching to see what people are going through, and to know that with the economy as it is, mostly everybody is just scraping by, and then for this to happen, it just really breaks your heart.
So I'm going to assume that that log that's in the, that's in the wiring over there maybe wasn't there prior to the storm. I'm just going to guess that. Maybe the force of the water.
I don't know if that's intentional because it's caught on both ends.
Oh, maybe.
But still, I think that is an odd thing. That little piece of wood is hitched up there. There must be a good reason for it.
Yeah,
But that sort of is almost a marker as to how high the water went at some points.
And it's interesting because you can see just so much debris.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. It's like, you know, we had our own little tsunamis when we saw the pictures of Japan and all their belongings and everything piled up and smashed. Of course, it wasn't to the same degree, but still the force of the water. You can see how in an instant, when they say flash flood warnings, I think people are going to run because
I think there's, I know. I think
that's what it is.
You kind of didn't maybe heed them before. You thought, no
yeah,
biggie.
It's going to rain. It might flood. Ooh, I might have to drive through a puddle. But now that we've witnessed this, I think it's wise that we pay really good attention to warnings and watches, and when the National Weather Service or whoever says be prepared, just be prepared. And if nothing happens, fine. But if something does, then you can, you have the resources to survive, and maybe because you're able to survive, you can help somebody else who isn't able to.
Exactly.
So if you take care of yourself, and then you can take care of others, and that's what community is about.
It is. It really, truly is. Well, thank you so much, Wanda, for sharing your experience with us today. I imagine it was probably not an easy thing to talk about because it was quite frightening.
It's still hard.
Yeah.
And Vermont is still beautiful. It's some places you can't get to, but I think people can still come visit. We're not shut off.
We're not shut off. We are Vermont strong.
We are Vermont strong.
Excellent. Thank you, Wanda.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Bye, community.
So here we are actually at the Hall Bridge to give you an idea of where the water level was at. You're saying it was right up to the bottom of the bridge?
Yeah, the bottom. People that were witnessing it has said that the water went up to the floorboards, or I don't know if those are floorboards, but the boards at the bottom of the bridge, and you can see where the trees smashed in to the bridge as they were being carried downriver.
Some remnants of a tree right there, I believe.
Yeah, there's actually trees stuck in there, and the rocks underneath have changed a little bit, so the bridge did move some.
Just the fact that the water, I mean, look at, what would you call that expanse? Probably what, like 12 feet from the bridge down to the water? More than that?
I think it was maybe more than that. I'm not sure.
It's amazing to me that the river would have gotten that high.
Yeah, because it's running high right now.
Yeah, it is running high right now.
And it was low before the storm happened, so it just came up. And
So
it came up all over here.
Wow.
All to this, I think it's pretty much to where this yellow thing is.
That's just,
and then you can see on the other side too where it came up. So it was like this huge.
You can see where it washed everything away.
Yeah.
There was just a huge, raging river.
Raging river.
Yeah.
And we can walk over the bridge, but we cannot drive over the bridge.
Do you have any indication as to when they might be fix it, or if
No.
they'll be able to fix it?
I don't know. I don't even know if they're considering it as being something that they're going to tend to right away.
Yeah,
because there's so many other areas that need help.
Right. And you have access to your
Yeah, we
homes,
have a way
so-
out, so, and we can walk over this, but
Wow.
you know, I don't know how long it's going to take, or if they will fix it. I would hope they can restore as many of the covered bridges as they can, because
know.
that's
Vermont. It's true. It's true. That's Vermont.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, folks. I don't know community unless you're out here walking around. And I do, you know, I don't encourage you to get in the way of the road crews, but I do
that
encourage
is a bad
you
idea.
to just, you know, take a look around and just see, you know, what some other folks have been going through, and just the change of the force of Mother Nature.
Yes, yes.
Never underestimate it.
No, because she's a lot stronger than any human could
Yeah.
ever hope to be.
So I think those are our words of wisdom for today. We always try to give you some words of wisdom, community, so there we go. Never underestimate Mother Nature.
Never, never, never.
Never, never, never. Okay, community, we're here today with Nancy Bazin. I'm sure many of you know Nancy. Nancy,
Marty.
born and raised in the area. We're standing on what used to be Nancy's little farm.
Little farm.
Little farm. Any of you that were on Facebook that Sunday of the storm, you're getting minute-by-minute reports pretty much posted by Nancy of exactly what was happening here as the water was coming in, and I mean, did you ever, in a million years, when you bought and redid your house here, did you ever think that you would ever have this kind of devastation?
No, Marty. I mean, that was the thing. We were expecting water. We knew we were going to have high water. I mean, there was going to be several inches of rain, and we were prepared for high water. We had a plan B. We were going to take our barn, which is actually Dennis built it on skids so he could move it around, and put it up behind the house and enclose the cows there and move them if need be. And it was about 10:30 that morning. Dennis and I walked the entire fence line, because there used to be
a fence line.
4-strand fence all the way around here, separating these two little pastures.
I mean, it was beautiful.
And another one down on the other end, and 60 bales of hay, and we walked the entire thing. In fact, I even cut off some hydrangeas off the fence because I didn't want to short the fence, which just makes me laugh actually now. And we actually sat on the swing set, which we don't very often do, but we sat on the swing set in the pouring rain, and we were kind of laughing and feeling really childlike. And you know, the water was still like a couple of feet below, you know, the top. And we said, well, you know, we're probably going to have to move the cows. And we just kind of were really in a relaxed mode.
You weren't like in panic mode at all?
No, it was raining. It was just what. But we then walked around the entire fence, and we walked up onto the deck, and we were looking, we were doing something. We turned around and looked, and all of a sudden, we just were both astounded, because the water had jumped the bank.
Wow.
And it was already coming in where that big gap is that's there now. That was right where the cows were. And the cows were obviously stressed and traumatized. And I mean, it just was so fast.
Because you're talking in an instant this happened?
In moments. I mean, we just had walked the whole thing. And so we said, oh my goodness, we got to move these cows. And we had a gate right here. And of course, it took a little doing to get them to come on the tar and get them up there.
How many cows did you have?
There was 6 and a baby.
Oh.
And we got
They all survived?
They did all survive.
Good. I just want to get that in there because...
Yes, and Martha, which was a great concern. I had a cow named Martha.
I saw that you had a little
And she started laboring on Saturday, and then she got up and she just stood as if to say, I'm not going to do this right now. And I thought, you know, I didn't really like that. And then, of course, with being traumatized, and then they were up behind our barn, and of course, then they realized they were free after a couple of days roaming the woods. I would drain them every 2 hours to get them back, and they'd come running. But Martha actually lost her bag and was looking very sickly, and I thought, oh, we've lost a calf. Thought for certain that we did, but once we transported them down to Dennis's brother Rail's farm, the vet was there the next morning and checked and said, not only is it alive, but it's very large.
Oh, wow.
So Stormy was born on
At least you didn't name it
Wednesday.
Irene.
No. If it was a girl, it probably would have been Irene.
That would have been a
I
little
don't like
too.
that name
I bet you don't. I bet you don't. I bet you don't.
So no, the cows were safe, and then we went to, at that point, you know, it was like, we need to move the barn. It was already underwater, and it was already moving very fast. And it would require Dennis to get down in underneath to find the hooks. And at that point, we also looked and the road was underwater, which it just, I mean, it's come up fast like that before when the Grafton Ponds went in 96, graduation night, 1996.
I remember that. I remember, because Grafton got cut off then also.
And we had water to the bottom of where that bush is. The water came to there. This time it was almost near the mailbox.
Wow.
And yeah.
So by the grace of God, as they say, it missed your house.
I mean, I just was standing there just literally praying to say, please go down, please. But it roared, and it was just a sound that I'll never forget. And it usually, we're standing next to it now, we don't really hear it.
No, you don't.
And,
you don't.
But it was roaring like an ocean, and I had waves lapping up on the, and it was very scary. We were cut off at that point. We could not get out.
Now, did they?
We would have had to have walked up through the woods and got on the interstate.
Wow. Did they? There wasn't even time to warn you to evacuate, right? You just.
We were in contact. Dennis's brother Rail in the fire department. He said he called and asked how we were doing. Were we planning on evacuating? What was our plan? So they were aware of what we were doing. That we would, we were going to stay with the animals.
Yep.
And we do have a bank up there if we needed to, and I do actually have an emergency kit that I planned 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think I think people were
in
prepared.
a tent that I said if I needed to, I could, I wouldn't like it very much.
Yeah.
But we could have done something if necessary. But thankfully it went down, and then I knew it was different when it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the water started to recede. But I had bits of land showing, like where this swing set is. And this has settled a lot since a week ago, which it was much higher. It was up to the chains on the swing set. And I said, oh, we have got a lot of silt out there.
Yeah, I mean, it literally looks like you now have beachfront property.
I do.
Complete with sand dunes.
The entire river bank is now beachfront. I was so tempted to go out with a beach chair. I still may.
Apparently there's somebody that did do a
go down a little bit.
Beachfront property, yeah.
Just to go out
and it took, but the river receded fairly quickly, didn't it?
It did. It went. The Saxon River is a small river. It comes up quickly and it goes down quickly. And it did I've lost track of time, but somewhere in like the 5, I know my sister-in-law called at 4 o'clock and said the National Weather Service on the radio says it's cresting at 6 o'clock. And at that point, I thought it was already going down, and I know my heart sunk. I thought, if I got to go through another hour and a half of this, I don't know.
And it was still up to your house?
It was right up to and I thought if it comes up any higher, we did have to shut off our propane because the water went under our tub and where our propane tank is buried. And Dennis didn't want to, it was a full tank, but typically propane tanks will come up because they set in sand. And he was afraid that would happen and we would have a full tank of gas spewing in an area. So he shut everything down, which meant that I no longer had the security blanket of a generator. Yeah. Even though we never lost power. Yeah. We never lost power through the whole thing. So there's so many blessings in there that I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for, the resources I have available, to me that so many folks don't have, and we didn't lose like so many other folks did. However, all my resources are off working elsewhere.
That's true. All of the Basin Brother crew is doing
they're in
work.
Randolph and Newfane and Jamaica, and they're everywhere.
I'm going to guess they've been working 24/7.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Doing the railroad and a lot of road work. So
it's still sad though, because I know that this was kind of a dream for you guys, wasn't it, to have a little farm?
I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I've been raising beef, and I was actually getting into selling a little beef.
I saw you on Facebook.
Designed my own label, and it was It was a challenge because I name them, and then I call it processing them.
Processing them, that's a nice way to think of it, Nancy.
But we give them a very nice home while they were here, and Mostly what was here was cows. We had our cows here.
So they were
and our
happy cows?
heifers. They're very happy cows.
So Vermont has happy
smile.
cows too,
They
not just
smile.
California.
That's right. And our yearlings are up actually at Dennis's brother Bob's.
It's nice that you had a place to put them.
Well, yeah. Well, they were there because he
Yeah.
actually chases them around with his horses.
Okay.
Well, he does team penning. And yes. So in a good way.
practices.
Yes. You have to have fresh cows.
Not just for the heck of it. He's
Yes.
doing it for a purpose.
Little
okay.
steers.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was. I missed them. I didn't think I would.
I bet you do.
I find myself walking about and saying, "Oh, I got to check," and oh yeah, but they're in a very happy little place right now, and I don't know what will. I don't think we're probably gonna go back
redo
to
it.
it. No,
Yeah.
it's gonna take too long. We won't be able to get the land back for a very long time.
You actually went to see the governor today. Is that correct?
I did.
Yeah, because
I
he
did
came
this
to
morning.
BF. He talked to people. How do you feel after that? Did you feel that?
Well, my feeling going in was I didn't know what a governor was going to be able to say when it's a natural disaster, that there's nothing we can do to prevent more of this from coming. And also that I don't know where we're going to find money. I think that our state, I know, is very, very tight in its budget. Our government certainly doesn't have extra money, so it's it's going to be a real challenge. I think we need to just keep going with what we're doing as
as
a
individuals,
community.
communities.
And I think everyone really, I mean, so supportive. What a great community we live in. People have called me and contacted me, asking me, what they can do to help, and I am so ever grateful for that. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of handwork that can be done.
I know. I saw your post, and I post about you needed some strong backs, and I was like, I don't think I qualify for that. But.
I mean, one day Dennis's brother Luke came along with a piece of equipment and was able to pull trees, and we needed a couple of saw operators.
Yeah, let's see that you got
Which
some.
I will take a challenge, but
You're not going to go quite there,
I only do
Nancy?
little branches, just little ones, not the big ones. If they get caught on me, I'm lost. It's just going to be. It's just going to be long. I think it's going to take a long time to get it back, and we're just going to have to chip away at it.
And I think just the more people that kind of are just aware, I think, because living in Bells Falls, we didn't get any. I mean, we're only was it like 5 miles away? Not even 5 miles.
Even two miles.
2 miles. And nothing. I remember the day of the storm was like, oh, this isn't such a big deal until I got home and I got on Facebook.
And
I saw you posting. I saw Wanda was posting, and it was just like, and that's really how I think the word got out was Facebook. I don't think people realized what was going on, and it, like you said, it happened
I saw
in
a
an
couple of
instant.
posts of somebody saying, "I'm bored today," and I just was thinking, my first thought was,
I'm not.
I'm not. And I was like, to be bored. But I really honestly was so grateful that more in our area, we actually were spared pretty well considering what other places in the state have taken. I mean, when you've lost your home and everything, I mean, that's, my heart just,
I know,
it hurts
I know.
for those people. And so it's just, again, it's a good community, a great community.
We are a good community.
A very
here.
good community.
We are.
And it is a Vermont spirit. It sounds cliche, but it's very true.
It is
and
very
we're very
true.
self-sufficient, and I think even the people that are here, and I know ourselves, is we tend to do it ourselves first. And people see
and then
that
pitch in
need,
and help your neighbor. Yeah.
Yes.
And then I know that's the thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I think is I've seen a lot of
that.
is people, maybe not doing what they need to do at their house, but over at their neighbor that's like 10 times worse.
Right.
Or something.
And I had a gentleman stop here that lives up in Bridgewater, Four Corners, and he lost his home, all his contents and everything else. And he said, I'm here to help. And I just looked at him and I said, what about your home? And he said, it's contained, I can't get in there, and I need to keep busy. So,
Wow.
And we have the trash.
And now we have trash pickup. nothing like reality TV. nothing like shooting no matter what happens. That's our motto.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I thank you so much.
Well, thank
so
you.
much for talking to the community
Thank
today.
you everyone in the community that's come forth and offered help. Again, it's so greatly appreciated, and I just can't tell you how much. Thank you. It really means a lot. It's huge. Thank you.
So our traditional close is bye community.
Bye community.
Hi, we're here today down at Allen Brothers. We're here with Stacy Allen, and I'd first like to thank her for taking time out to do a little interview with us, because I'm sure you've been a very busy bee the past few.
We have been very busy.
You have been. The first thing I noticed when I walked in today to meet you here was, oh my God, it looks normal.
Really?
Like, yeah,
Oh,
I thought,
that's
Allen
encouraging.
Brothers is back. I know the store's not back, but your mums are out. The greenhouse looks, flourishing. This must have been underwater, was it?
This was underwater. There, you can see the water line.
Oh my gosh.
You can't see it, but there's a water line right on this blue board. So it was about 4 feet in our greenhouse, and this whole outside was just covered in silt. Everything was just laying down, and it really was a mess. And we were in shock to begin with.
I bet you were. Did you, now you didn't really did you get much damage on Sunday, the day of the storm, or
No.
it was pretty much on Monday?
We got a call about 4 o'clock in the morning, Monday, that water was coming across the road. So we got out of bed and came over, and we thought, oh gosh, we're going to flood. So we went in and started picking stuff up off of the floors that we thought was important and put it on desks and higher countertops. And somewhere between 7 and 7:30 it started rising. It was about to our knees, and the fire marshal came and said, you've got to shut off the power and you guys need to leave. So Timmy didn't want to leave, but
I can imagine.
so he was scrambling around just trying to secure what he could. And then the water literally, it was like the river was just coming through. And so we left, and then later we came back, and we couldn't believe that it just kept rising and rising and rising. And then we started to panic, thinking everything that we put on desks, thinking it would
floating.
be okay, is now probably not okay.
Yeah.
So-
Obviously you flooded out here before.
Never, yeah.
Not to that
a few
extent,
inches,
yeah.
Right.
Because I know that the field out to the back sometimes gets flooded
Right,
out.
right.
I know my sister and I came down to go to grab coffee at Harlow's, because that's as far as they would let us go. They said, you can go to Harlow's, but then you have to turn around and come back. I thought, okay. So we came down, and we could see there was water in the road, and didn't think it was as bad as it was. And then later in the afternoon, I was on Facebook, because that's how I've been watching everything, because
Right,
everyone's been posting on
right.
Facebook. And Kathy Martin had taken a picture and posted it, and I think she was standing back probably about where Westminster Auto is, and you could see the picture, and the water level was up to your the counter where you guys serve ice cream. And I thought, it was unreal.
It was
absolutely unreal that I thought, not Allen Brothers. Allen Brothers has been there forever. But I'm floored. You said that you had a lot of volunteers come in, and I'm amazed at how much you've gotten done in just about a week, not
Well,
even.
the progression of how things went. So Monday afternoon, a lot of people have seen the famous picture of Timmy and Lance out in kayaks.
Kayaks, yeah.
And again, the fire department came, and they were also in kayaks, just making sure that things were sort of secure. But at about 3 o'clock, we had a line, and it started to recede. And by the next morning, all the water was gone. Every one of our employees, close friends, family showed up, and we just started hauling stuff out. Rogerio came with a dumpster. Just people were here in droves, and by the end of the day, we pretty much had all the rotten inventory, the freezers done, and so that was Tuesday. And then Wednesday we started doing more and more just cleanup of the silt, and again people just started calling saying, what can I do, what can I do? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, those 4 days, we had over 200 volunteers.
That's amazing.
We had schools call, Landmark College came and helped just, put mums up. And then we had a washing crew out back, and each of these mums has survived. They've been washed 2 or 3 times. We found a solvent that works to get the silt off, and so Timmy said, okay, let's get up and running this weekend, and Monadnock Radio Group did ads for us free of charge, just letting the public know that Allen Brothers is we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're going to reopen, and that Allen Brothers Oil is also still delivering oil, and we're going to be okay.
Yeah, because I mean it was a big weekend, Labor Day weekend in the service tourist industry. You're right off the interstate, gas. That's a big weekend to not be open. Did you? Obviously, you wouldn't have done the normal numbers, but do you think that maybe more people came out than normal? Did you do some good mum sales, or?
We had a lot of people that really just wanted to see it all for their own eyes, so we put together a bulletin board on the counter of how things went, and people just kept shaking their heads in disbelief. But then they'd turn around and say, yeah, I'll get a bag of apples. Yeah, there you go. I know, I say you've already got your apples out, the mums are out. You guys, like I said, that's what struck me when we drove in here today, was that it looks back to normal, and I know how much work it had to have been, and I just I can't even imagine. You guys, has it been like 24/7, or you've been? Not quite 24/7, because we try to get a few hours of sleep.
I would imagine you might want a few hours sleep.
But every time we wake up, we start thinking, Oh,
I'm sure.
But really, I just can't say enough about our employees and about just the friends. Some people we never knew, never met, they just called and said we want to help, and all of that has really kept us encouraged and hopeful, and we've met with our insurance company now finally, and that seems to be going in the right direction. And yesterday we tested the gas, and the gas pumps are working.
Yay, gas pumps are working.
And my husband, who's a survivor, said we're gonna be back pumping gas next week.
Awesome. So, well, you guys are such an icon in the area. I mean, how long has Allen Brothers been in operation?
I believe it's 1956. But really, the 4 brothers were there prior to that with just a smaller, vegetable stand. But in 1960 was when Bergeron Construction actually gave us a grand opening, and oddly enough, we just found that newspaper clipping, and they're the ones that are coming to do the renovation, and we didn't even know it. So that was kind of a neat thing.
Everything comes full circle, doesn't it? It does. It does. So, are you going to be able to reopen the stand?
We are going to.
Good.
We're probably going to have to do it in stages. I know that most people want the donut
the coffee
machine to
it's a toss-up for me. I think it's the coffee for me.
But that donut machine put out a lot of donuts.
It did.
It made a lot of people happy. But so we're working on that. But it'll probably be in stages as the construction comes. We do have a temporary mobile office being delivered tomorrow.
That'll probably be nicer than the truck.
They're not working in their truck, right?
that probably, it was probably okay today when it's sunny, but it might not have been so good when it's raining.
Exactly. And then it'll also be a place where people can come, ask questions. Oil customers can come and check in, or open contracts, pay bills, whatever. So that'll be a great help, having an office.
Yeah, the interesting theme of what because we've interviewed some other folks today, the interesting theme in everything that I've heard from everybody is how much local community stepped up. Yeah. And I think that's what small towns are about. That's what Vermont is about. It's about small towns, community, and just people helping people. You said you had people that you didn't even know.
Exactly.
And I mean, you guys have got loyal customers for, you come in the morning and you see the same gentleman having their coffee, the same people getting their donuts, probably usually me, or coming in for afternoon coffee, or stopping to get milk, stopping to get gas. So, it's what you do.
The other thing that was really neat is today's the first day that I had to supply some lunch, so I went and got peanut butter and jelly and bread. But
comfort food.
But really, every day someone has come with cases of water. Charlestown House of Pizza has come. Athens Pizza came. The Emblem Club made us sandwiches. Our church family made food. So every day people have come, just feeding and giving water to the volunteers, and that was just something that it took a whole, piece off of my mind that I didn't have to
I imagine.
to think about that.
Now, you were at the meeting with the governor today?
I was.
How did you feel that went?
I thought it was very good. I thought it was great that he came and just, I think I said to you already, that he showed his face, that he showed the area that he does care and that he's pulling for us. It gave them encouragement and hope as well. We heard some pretty sad stories in there.
Yeah, I didn't go myself. I was working, but I've heard that there was, you know, a lot of heartfelt stories.
But he offered numbers, more information, and I just think it was it was the right thing for him to do.
I think that I think also that, you know, I've heard some press, not local press, but press that Vermont wasn't prepared. Well, I don't think anybody could have been prepared for this kind of natural disaster.
No.
It doesn't happen here.
And to be honest, we had a call from the people that control the dam, whose name has left my mind, but they called us Sunday night and said, "We think you're going to be okay." So they didn't even foresee what was going to happen, and I guess the Wilder Dam played a big part of the Connecticut flooding, and but you know, in a disaster, you pull together and you try to encourage one another, and I think we're all going to be okay.
Awesome.
You know?
I have to ask this: did the cat survive?
The cat actually had left prior to the
Okay,
flood.
I know that was like one thing that was in my
Someone wanted
mind.
that cat, and so we let Moxie go.
I love that cat. I did.
Everybody
She'd be
did.
sleeping on the. Usually it was the Megabucks ticket thing. That's
Right,
where I
right.
usually see her. So I was worried about that. I said, I gotta ask Stacy, did the cat make it? Good.
The cat is
Good.
alive and well.
Good. Thank
yes.
God. Awesome. Well, I think the biggest thing community to know is Allen Brothers is open. They're coming back. So come down, get your mums. There's apples. You even got
Right.
some chocolates out there. You got tomatoes. You know, come down, show your support. And, you know, when the coffee machine and donut machine are up and running, come and get those too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stacy. Hey community, we're here today with Sue Hammond, and Sue and I go back a few years. Girls of 83, woo! We graduated. Sue, you've lived in Bartonsville your whole life, pretty much, right?
Pretty much, except for the time, 25 years when I was around the world in
Oh,
New York. But,
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I grew up here. Bartonsville was my home. It was growing up, there was a lot of kids who grew up here, so it was a very
Most of them were
close
Hammonds?
community. Most of them were Hammonds, yes.
Let's be honest.
There were a lot of Hammonds, but the Adamses and the Brophies and, you know, the others. So it was, you know, we were a real tight community, and it's still a close community, even though, you know, people are a little busy in their lives. But
Yeah. So you were, I don't know if I want to call it lucky enough, but you were the one that did capture the actual covered bridge, Bartonsville covered bridge going down.
Yes.
And you immediately posted it to Facebook. I know I was home. That's how I was watching what was going on, because again, in Bells Falls, it didn't seem like really much was going on, and then you started looking at Facebook and you started seeing all the destruction, and it was just, you know, it was like jaw-dropping.
yeah.
I think the thing that got to me when I was watching it at home was just the raw emotion in your
Yeah.
voice as it went down, and it summed everything up as to what things like that can really mean to a community. And I think, as you just stated, you're a tight-knit community, so it was a big deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful. I mean, we had all been throughout the day coming down to the bridge, just about every community member who could get down here. There was several who were down here when it actually went in. But we had all throughout the day been watching the river come up and up and up, and you know, first it was 5 feet, and then it was just about 3 feet, and then 2 feet, and then we started hearing the water lap against the bridge. But when we really knew it was about ready to go, when it creaked. Really, it was creaking, and that's. But you can't really prepare yourself for the actual event. We knew it was going to happen, and that's when I deleted as fast as I could old video off of my camera, and so I could have some space on it, because it was only a flip camera. You only had an hour footage. And we had moved all the way back, because you can see this pole.
Yeah, the
leaning
telephone.
here.
Yeah.
At the time, water was rushing against this pole, and we really thought the pole was going to go down, taking the pole across the river down,
And power lines.
And the power lines.
Yeah.
We didn't want to be in between the power lines and the bridge, so we moved back. And shortly after we moved back, I mean, within it seemed like a matter of seconds, but it was probably longer than that. I started filming because I just heard this really incredible creak, and it was, of course, obviously very devastating. You can tell if you listen to my video. It just felt like you got kicked in the stomach. You know, something that had been here 140 years, and every day when you came home, you know, you heard the little thump of your tires across the wooden treads.
A little bit of familiarity.
Yeah, and you knew you were home. And just like a few days before, I had come home late at night, and there was a skunk walking through the middle of the bridge, and I'm just watching it waddle across. And you know, it really connected us to the broader community in Rockingham, but you know, our community here too. Now we're shut off, and poor Marvy right here is completely shut off, which is, you know, it's like part of our community is ripped apart because we can't get to Marvy and her farm stand anymore.
And
without
that's
going all the way around.
And that's what I know. We talked a little bit the other day, and you got some, because you went viral, and it was on YouTube, and you got tons of hits on YouTube, and I think you talked to was it CBS and Fox and everything. So it was, you know, you got some good press, but I think you also got some flack for you know, the comments that you had made as it was going down, and I think that's just really unfair. I don't think people understand what monuments or I'm groping for a word. Landmarks. There we go. Landmarks really can mean to an area, and what it meant to you. It meant, I'm cut off now. From an easy way to get to the grocery store, to get, you know, into town to do what I need to do.
For the kids to get to school. It's been that the reality of being cut off took a while to hit. You know, first it was just complete shock that it was gone. I mean, it actually was rather graceful.
I was going to say that it went she went down gracefully.
And the part of the comments that really made me angry is the ones who just clearly don't know covered bridges, don't have one in their lives that they are familiar with. They're like, it was an old, decrepit piece of junk. You know,
it's a piece of history.
They didn't understand that, and they didn't. It's almost a shame, you know, like I didn't plan to have this video and didn't plan for it to go viral. But if I'd been on this, you know, if I was a real, you know, journalist, I would have been on this side of the river. But it sailed completely intact for a quarter of a mile until the bend in the river. And if this was a straight river, this would have ended up the Connecticut River and kept on floating down to Bellows Falls. But it's too many bends and turns, and they couldn't handle the turns. But yeah, I got a lot of negative comments, and you know, I posted it first. The reason I posted it was not all of our neighbors were here. All of my siblings who I grew up here, and all of our friends that we still keep in touch with, weren't here. So that's why I went to Facebook first, because a lot of them were on that. And then not everybody's in Facebook, so I put it on YouTube. And I did have a YouTube account for work, you know, a few videos from that, but I never have dealt with the trolls that exist. I didn't even know there's such a thing as a troll.
I thought you were just using that in a general term. They're really
no,
they call
themselves internet trolls, and they just go from most popular video to most popular video and make nasty comments. And the people who police that, you know, other YouTube members know them all by name and know their activities, and some of them stood up and defended my reaction. I never felt I had to defend my reaction.
No, not at all. I don't either.
The insensitivity and the pure, I don't know, it was just
disconcerting.
Yeah, but no, I mean the language that they would use, and you know, they would, you know, started to attack women because women are emotional. They started to attack Vermonters because we couldn't handle our storm.
I think this is a grade above a storm.
Yeah, you know, and just this sense of, you know, you just start to picture this person in your mind just sitting in front of their computer
with no real
life, nothing that connects them to other people in their community or things in their community. I mean, yes, it was a bridge, it was a very beautiful bridge. It was an important historic bridge. But it wasn't just a bridge that can easily be replaced. And it's going to take us years probably to get it
Now
back.
I hear the bridge was insured, however.
It was.
Is that going to help with the...
It certainly will help. The bridge, the wooden structure of the bridge is insured for $1 million by the town. All three bridges, because all three covered bridges in Rockingham received damage. So thankfully, the town, many years ago, insured them. So that will certainly help ensure that a covered bridge comes back. Without that $1 million policy, the money that would have to go into putting our bridge back would be significant. It doesn't cover the abutment, as you can see. The
abutment is I can't. I'm just floored at that. It's like cookie crumbs, like cookie crumbs down there.
And that's part of the reason. I mean, the other thing that angered me when people were saying, it was the bridge. The bridge was perfectly strong and sturdy. It was the abutment that went.
Well, and those are concrete abutments, like heavy concrete.
Yeah, and you can see from the one across, when this was they did renovations on the bridge in the 80s. The one across is almost complete concrete. It has some of the original stone foundation there, but this, when you look at it, you can see it was mostly concrete sitting on top of stone, and the water just came and ate it away in between the concrete and the original foundation, and that's what took it away. I mean, we also lost about 12 feet at least of the road before you even get to the bridge.
The road's down there now.
Yeah. So it wasn't the covered bridge, and the fact it was made of wood, or the fact it was 140 years old that took the bridge down. It was the abutment
and
gave way, because the water has never been this high.
So the actual bridge it lodged itself upriver.
Yeah.
Correct? Are you is the plan? Because I hear you're the unofficial spokesperson for the bridge now.
I am.
I heard you got that title.
Yeah, I did.
And, are you going to be able to salvage pieces
We
of that?
are, and the town has been very supportive about that, though of course they've said they have other priorities right now. And I completely understand that that's getting those pieces back aren't a priority, and which is why we're asking people to stay. Not only is a landowner asking people to stay off, the town is asking people to stay off, and we are asking people to stay off.
I think that's
leave
important.
it there. Because if we can you have to get 51% of the original trusses from the bridge back. If we can do that, it can still be considered a historic bridge, and that's important.
That's your goal.
That's
Well, I
our
think
goal. It may not be possible, but that's our goal.
You know, again, it's not only what defines Bartonsville, but it's what defines Vermont.
Yeah, it was the second
Covered
longest covered bridge in Vermont.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the longest covered bridge in Windham County. It was completely wood. A lot of the other bridges around here have been, they have
Like a
paved roadbed or steel roadbed. This was 100% wood, which we want to see back. But yeah, it'll be back. It'll take some time. I mean, the town is talking about putting in a temporary bridge because now we have to go all the way to Chester, which is I clocked it. It's probably about 8 miles out of the way to get back to this.
To get all the way around.
And so the school bus is not going that way. Children who are in the village have to be met at the Rockingham, the old old store up here. So that's an inconvenience, particularly families who are working. And a temporary bridge, which we would support as long as at the same time they're working on our bridge, our covered bridge. We don't want a temporary bridge that's going to come here and stay here for 10 years.
Yeah, temporary, 10 years temporary.
Yeah. And we don't want a temporary bridge if that means any additional resources are going into the temporary bridge and not into restoring our bridge. So there's a lot of questions, but the town has been supportive of having it come back as a covered bridge.
And you went, I believe you went to the governor's meeting today, is that correct? How did you feel that went?
I thought it went well. I mean, he was talking about, repairing things and making them bigger and stronger and more hurricane proof, and I got a little bit of concern that, that might change the bridge too much. But I think if they just make a strong abutment, and that abutment stayed.
Yeah.
That abutment also had water coming all the way up to it.
Yeah.
It was almost to the top of the little parking area across the way.
Wow.
Poor Bartlett's and the Langstons got flooded out.
Wow.
So the water was
The water was everywhere.
It was everywhere.
It was.
I mean, it
I
was
still am just, I
incredible to
still,
see how high it went off. I mean, you can see where all the
Yeah.
trees were, you know, where it reached here.
and washed out the railroad.
Yeah.
Railroad
Oh, the railroad was here 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's incredible. We didn't get someone to work that hard on this. We would have a
You'll be all good. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today and setting the record straight about for all you, what are they called?
trolls.
Trolls, you trolls out there, get a life. That's
Yeah,
what I say.
definitely get a life.
Get a life.
We have a great community here in Vermont. I'm sorry you don't.
Yes. Thank you, Sue. So that's our show for today, community. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that if in any way, shape, or form you can help donate to any of the flood relief funds, maybe just lend a hand to anyone in your community, that would be great. I hope that you realize that the show just showed you the community spirit here in the area, and while there were some very, very bad things that happened, it seems like there was also some really good things that happened and that people really pulled together. I'd like to thank Wanda and Jeff. I'd like to thank Sue. I'd like to thank Nancy. I'd like to thank Stacy. And just to let you know, in case you didn't pick up on it, Allen Brothers is open for business. Please go support them. Please go help them out. Got some moms. They're open for business. They're going to rebuild, and donuts are coming soon. Bye, community.